is Marina, and I have just completed the Love Codes with Belinda Bailey.
So my greatest challenges within relationships, which I really discovered during the program, was my lack of vulnerability or my inability to really show and express how I felt.
Had a lot of barriers up, and I only seemed to engage with men on a purely physical level when I wanted so much more. So I wasn't getting the emotional connection, and I wasn't getting the relationship and the quality of the relationship. It wasn't that I just wanted a relationship, I wanted something very, very special and something that was really high quality and long lasting.
I had found myself in a series of relationships where I was really questioning whether this was the right match for me, and it ended up taking a large amount of energy, and I found myself trying to make it the best relationship for me.
I feel like I had a whole lot of triggers, I had a whole lot of unconscious behaviours going on that I didn't really understand, I think, and I didn't really understand necessarily the dynamic of the masculine and feminine energy and the way that it's ideal to relate to people, and I guess I would feel perhaps I would feel masculine in a relationship, but I didn't know I was feeling masculine in the relationship. I would just know that, like I wanted a guy to kind of step up more, or I wanted a guy to take more control, but I didn't really realise that I probably wasn't giving him any space to take control either.
So that pattern of creating a gap for me really felt as if I would either create conflict unnecessarily, or I would look at my partners and find flaws and faults in really not very flawed behavior, if I'm really honest. But it took me a while to get honest enough to actually see that I was creating that pattern, and it wasn't necessarily the partners, but yet it was the pattern that I kept playing out with different partners. And that's always the biggest link and the clue, isn't it? That if it's happening again and again, it's probably with you.
As a result of not being vulnerable, even though I thought I was that they couldn't see me, they couldn't really hear me, they couldn't love me for me, because there was always a rather large aspect of myself that I was keeping hidden.
When I decided to do the course, I didn't realise how life-changing it would be. I think I'd really underestimated the effect it would have on me, just not even in terms of my relationship with men, but also my relationship with myself. And it's showed me that I had issues with my own self-worth that was dictating a lot of my interactions with men.
Post-program, what's really shifted for me inside my relationship, which, I was already great and all of the things, was that now I can really kind of own my part.
So some of the key takeaways for me have been really accessing my feelings, getting in touch with how I feel, and learning to speak from my feelings as opposed to my thoughts.
Being able to actually express how you feel, the vulnerability and trust loop, is a big one for me as well, because I think that I've protected myself quite a lot, and kind of realised that maybe if there wasn't some kind of emotional depth in previous relationships, that it might have been because I wasn't getting there or allowing it to go there.
I feel a whole lot more comfortable in myself now, being able to identify whether a partner is a good match for me or not. And it's been a beautiful process in being able to trust myself and my judgment in making those calls. And ultimately, I feel like the men that I'm attracting now are closer and closer to a better match for me.
And it's a much higher calibre of man, and the way we're engaging with each other is on a much more emotionally intimate level. It's not about the physical.
I have become a lot more vulnerable through some of the activities that we were required to do. And then taking that into relationship has been quite life-changing, and I've felt very raw in some of my interactions with guys, and some of which I've dated. But the way that I've been met by them when I've been vulnerable is beautiful, and affirming that that's actually what I need to be. That's what I want to be in relationship if I want to experience this deep connection that I want to experience.
Me softening has allowed him to actually come and greet me more richly, which is rewarding for me, of course, but I think for both of us, it's deepened our connection.
And now I have a guy that I've been friends with for a long time, that it's kind of stepped up a few notches and turned pretty romantic in quite a nice way, and I can just see myself in relation to him acting completely differently to how I did in the past, and it's nice. It's creating a really nice connection between us. So I feel like I'm a lot more open and vulnerable, and instead of being worried about getting hurt, I'm just able to tell him how I feel or kind of create that depth, which is what I really want, right?
So I feel the men that are showing up for me now are quite a different, I'm not sure if I'd say caliber, but just a very different style of man than what I used to attract and draw in. So I had been finding the men that I've been attracted to have been quite confident in themselves and who they are.
I would highly recommend this course for you if you are someone who has struggled to connect with men, or to attract men who are the caliber that you'd like to date.
And I feel really emotional, actually. I feel really grateful. I feel really appreciative of the work that I'm doing. I feel appreciative of the facilitation of programs and coaches like Belinda. I feel grateful that there are things that I was so unaware of as to how I was behaving in relationships that it will never be the same again.
And I am in a really lush, beautiful relationship at the moment, and I don't think it's one that I would have been in if I hadn't done this course. So I highly recommend it. I had an amazing, powerful journey and experience, and I'd definitely be doing more work with Belle in the future.
I wish I'd found this course years ago, but obviously the timing wasn't there, and it's made a huge difference to my life now, and yeah, it's fed into other areas of my life. My business is going much better now. My relationships with friends have improved. The happiness I feel on a daily basis is huge.
And I think the other thing that really surprised me was, even though I was investing in something that's very personal for me and was obviously very much a heart-led decision that affected how I feel in my relationship, which is priceless, of course, but what was beautiful to see in reflection was that my relationships at work shifted, and the patterns that I used to have in play that were keeping me a little separate or a little distanced or not connected in kind of every realm, family and my employees, they shifted too.
This is a really good course for career women in particular, but also women that probably aren't feeling soft and open and feminine. I just think I would definitely recommend that you do the love codes.
It's probably the first time in my whole life that I've felt that I could love myself.